Uh-oh, you're probably saying, there's nothing behind and I can do this, so it's going to be like all serious. It's not going to be just a media review or something. But no, it isn't, of course. But I do want to just talk about the year. It's not something I've really done in the past because most years have been quite unremarkable in the grand scheme of things. And there were a couple of years where we didn't really want to talk about it, did we? But I wanted to do this because this last year has been something weird and amazing in many ways. So I hope you'll allow me this time. I mean, it's going to happen anyway, but I hope you watch me doing it. Because I think it's important to see what a difference a year can make. If you're on the fence about doing something, I hope that what I say here today can encourage you. If you're happy doing what you're doing, that's fine too, but I hope you can maybe give me that time to explain why I needed that change and why it's working out so well. Hopefully, I say. Counting chickens and all that. But the start of this year was not amazing. I mean, yeah, I was still in the same house, I was being looked after, I was in a relationship still, all that kind of stuff, great. That's fine. That's the bare minimum I think anyone should hope for. But I was quite content to be doing this. It keeps me busy if it doesn't bring in huge money at the moment or anything like that, and every bit of support that I get obviously is appreciated, but it's certainly not the big bucks, and, I'm not like Markiplier level or anything like that. But I keep doing it out of a passion. I enjoy talking about films and TV. It also makes me feel less guilty when I'm playing games. If I'm like, I can make a video of this 30, 40-hour game that I've just sunk all of that time into, I'll make a video on it, and therefore it wasn't a waste of time, and I wasn't just idling, through life. But we all have that thing in us, that little spark. It's what led us to what we are now. All humans want more. We always crave the next whatever it may be. So you might be content in this specific thing right now, but in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, you'll want more. This is why we all seek that promotion, or most of us seek that promotion or seek that new challenge. It's what made us develop tools. It's what made us explore the globe. It's what made us invent everything that I'm using to get this message out to you. It's a good part of humanity. It's also a less good part of humanity because that over-competitiveness can sometimes seep in and make you a complete and utter pain to people around you because you just want to be the very best. Not in a good Pokemon way, of course. But I started the year, I think, with the first real rush of that I've had for a long while. And I was, just maybe I need to do something different. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a one-income household with 2 adults. It's not great. I mean, yes, my disabilities, etc., have impacted what I can do, and there's stuff I've done in the past that has made it very clear that I've got to be very careful about what I choose to do. I've got to make sure it isn't going to harm me and those around me, indirectly or directly. So, yeah, it's something that's always in the back of my mind. I could contribute more, but how? How can I do it? Well, keep plugging away at what I'm doing. That's the best way. At least I'm not just sitting there doing nothing. I want to say it was maybe February of this year, but I think just at the end of the previous one, my dad was in hospital because he was very ill. It happens, that's what hospitals are for. But in February, he was in because he really couldn't breathe. He was struggling. It was very, very upsetting in many ways. And I realised then that I'm a bad child. Now, I'm not going to bore you with my entire family history, but we're not exactly the most communicative and together and close-knit family that you could ever have. We're very much far removed from that. We're not as bad as sort of estranged families or people who have family members who they really cannot contact anymore for whatever reason. But we're not the best at keeping in touch. And I certainly felt that. I really felt that I need to be better. And I did say at the time, every month I will at least be in contact, if not visit, since that point. I think I've maybe missed 1 or 2 because my brain is just not brilliant at stuff, but I've been a lot better this year. I think, 8, 9 months out of the 10 is not too bad. It's a lot better than twice a year, if that. So I felt good about that. I've gained this reconnection. I made a grown man cry by giving him access to music through I got him an iPod Touch, first generation, because 77-year-old, not going to be that brilliant with technology, so the simplest version. and got a speaker dock and everything like that, so it's not just the tinny speakers, and he doesn't have to walk around with headphones and miss anything going on. So I got that. It just loaded up with 6 songs at first, which was just a sweet gesture, and I'm like, okay, at some point I'll come and give you more. It's fine, we'll sort it out. And I went over a few months back and put another 60, I think, something like that on there. I've still got a load more that we've got to go through. But I played a song when we were there, and I know he won't watch this because, again, old man, so I'm not going to embarrass him. Well, okay, if anyone passes this on to him, I'm sorry, Dad, okay? But I saw a grown man cry because I played a particular song that, you know, he loved for a long time. And there were tears in his eyes. And I wasn't going to stop it. It was tears of joy. He was so happy that we were there. We were able to give this to him. And that made me feel good. So that's one thing that's improved over the year. I've gained this reconnection. I've already been learning Japanese through a couple of different sources. I'm also now learning a bit of Dutch because when he was a young man, he often went to the Netherlands. And as I've picked it up organically, and it's still something that's in his mind because as we get older, we tend to still have things from way back. It's just the short term that tends to suffer. So I'm picking up learning Dutch so that at some point I can just freak him out and come out with a bit of Dutch. Then he'll start rattling off a load at me and I'll go, whoa, I only speak a little bit here. Which I can say now, but I'm not going to embarrass myself with terrible pronunciation because I'm still early on. But I can just about say it. He'd understand. So like I say, that's one big positive. And he wasn't that great, when we were kids. He came every weekend-ish and took us out, but he wasn't really the constant there. But years later, we came back to this country after being abroad for various reasons I'm not going to go into. But he realised that he'd missed a good chunk of our lives, and some would say too little too late, cynical people, but I'm like, no, he realises that what he really wanted and needed when he was out of the country was family. So now he wants to make an effort. And I always give people second chances. I think it's wrong to think that people can't change and realise over years. I'm the poster child for that. So like I say, that was one good. I've gained that reconnection. I've also been better with my mother as well. My sisters, we're all terrible and we accept that. But the other big thing, which everyone will know because I do weekly videos about it, which is also to kind of help me when it comes to do a reflective vlog later, is my university vlogs. So the journey for that, there is a video about it, but I'll just briefly reiterate here. I've been looking at stuff like the Open University, which is like distance learning for those who aren't in this country and don't know what the OU is. So yeah, distance learning courses, but it is a university. You will get a degree. But it's all distance, so it's not covered by student finance and stuff like that over here. You would have to privately fund it. We don't have that kind of money lying around. See earlier point about single income to adult situation. So that was not really going to happen, because for a long while I've had the idea that I would like to do some kind of counselling. I've had counselling given to me, as it were. I've been the subject of it for many years and various forms of therapy. But I want to give something back. Now, very recently, this won't be in the earlier video, very recently, having a discussion with my mentor, I realised that I could combine, hopefully, obviously again, I've got to pass everything first, but I could hopefully combine 2 ideas at once, and my mentor's also given me a potential way to make that happen as well, which is great. There are a lot of befriending services and things like that, which I've always been interested in. Just being an ear for someone. It's what I like. I like allowing people to vent. I like allowing people to get stuff off their chest. I like people to not feel lonely, feel like someone is listening. Maybe that's an issue from my childhood. Who knows? Never felt like I was listened to. Who knows? But I wanted to do that, and there's befriending services out there, but they're often volunteer roles or in Christian organisations, and I'd feel weird working for something with a religion that I don't adhere to. I'd feel very strange in that, because they'd probably have a framework that they'd want you to operate in, which would be religiously based. I mean, that's assumption, because I never went for it, because I didn't want to be in that position. But I was like, what if I could make a business, like a non-profit, obviously, but an organisation that's secular, as a befriending service, and not just for old people. I think there's a lot out there for old people, but you could have it for old people, you could have it for just isolated people in general, perhaps people with complex mental health needs who are on that threshold that they can't really function on their own, but they're not in a bad enough position that they need to be constantly looked after. They're in this weird grey area where no one's actually paying attention. They're not good enough to thrive on their own, but they're not bad enough we need to put you in an institution or something. Not that those exist very much anymore, but you get the idea. So it would be open to all sorts, anyone who needs it. And that's the key part, anyone who needs it. But I, again, would have to start that business up. Now, I could look into business loans and stuff like that, but that's a big thing. Also, without any qualifications and stuff like that, and various bits of my past as well, would it really work? Would I get my name out there? Would I get things started before I ran out of capital? So, all of that, this degree that I've commenced, I'm doing the foundation year, which will normally just put you straight onto the core psychology degree, but you can go into a specialisation, and short of anything changes, I'm still looking to go towards the counselling route. But I could do all of that, get the qualifications, we're talking like at least 6 years to get to even the point that I could potentially start practicing. It's probably going to be another few years on top of that before I really could. But what if I could combine these two? And once you have your degree and things like that, universities will often have success funds and sort of business startup grants that they can possibly give. Now, grant is a very important word in this, because I wouldn't have to worry about ever paying that back. Now, of course, this is years in the future, things might change, but that is a potential. I could combine these things. But also in the interim, and this is going to sound really wrong in many ways, I am getting an income of sorts. Yes, it's student loan. It has got to be paid back once I'm earning enough. Fine, I get that. But at the moment, I'm bringing in a damn sight more than I was before starting the degree. But starting that degree wasn't something I was intending to do this year either. This is what I mean, how everything's just really sort of coming together this year. Because I went to an open day just to get an idea. What can I do? Can I get on the course? Will I be able to fund it? Do I have to do a foundation year? All this kind of stuff. What can I do? And I went just with that. And then it was like, well, do you want us to put it through now? And boom, there we are. I'm on a course. And these last few months, well, really only a couple of months, just shy of 3, I suppose, have been some of the best for a while. I've met people that I wouldn't have done normally. I wouldn't have approached any of these people in my normal life. I know that. I would not have walked up and gone, hi, who are you? I'm me. Let's be friends. But I have at least a handful of people who maybe I wouldn't kill for. I think we're quite that close yet, but certainly I'd help them hide a body, I think, in some cases. In some cases that might be necessary. But I have someone who I had issues with in the first week. Let's put it that way. And I was really struggling to just get this person. I just couldn't understand why they're there if they couldn't apply themselves in the way that I thought they should. Again, this is without knowing them. Over time, I've realised who this person is. And they're someone who has made some bad moves in life and is trying to make their life better. They're trying to avoid who they were before. They're trying to change life for themselves and for other people in the future. Through their own experiences and through getting this qualification, they can stop people going down the route they have. That's great. I respect that entirely. And apparently, now, drink was involved, so we'll see if it holds true. But apparently, if anything ever happens, I've got one person who will really just have my back, no questions asked. And yeah, I've got people like that in life. But someone who I've known for just a few months giving me that commitment, I'm happy with. I will happily help this person succeed within my ability to, obviously within my own limitations. There is someone who I thought was a lot older than they were. Not a lot older, maybe like 5 years, but they carry themselves with such a maturity, but I learned the reason why. But they carry themselves with such maturity, and I respect that. This is my, like, I will protect you. They'll protect me, I'll protect you. I mean, I don't think they need it. I think they're pretty good. And they may even be watching this, so hi. But yeah, all of this, all of these changes, all of these people, all of these things that have happened this year have come about because of, well, one thing, I suppose. The desire to change and grow. See how I link back to an earlier point? I can do that sometimes. Getting better at this. It's like writing essays. But that's it. I have grown over this year, and I've learned to say yes to opportunities because I want to do more. Now, I'm still keeping this going for as long as I have the energy, for as long as I have the ideas. I've got a spreadsheet that if I ever choose to wrap it up, I need to clear this spreadsheet down first because it will just wheedle in the back of my mind like you've got that to do. So I will never just go, right, that's it. I will announce that I'm finishing and those videos will finally get done. Some of them will require watching an entire series again from scratch because it's been that long, which is why I haven't got around to them. But unless they get overwritten by something else, that's what my commitment is. And, you know, if this suddenly takes off out of nowhere, I'm still going to try and do the both at the same time. I'm just going to go, well, be aware, all these people jumping on, there might be a time limit on this, there might be an endpoint. But I think that's good as well, because we have to understand that everything comes to an end. I feel very black and white here, a certain unus annus feeling. But it's very much everything has to end. And in a lot of things, we don't get to make that decision. But, like I say, that isn't the plan right now. This isn't what this video is for. This is a celebration of the year that's been, and a hope for the years to come. I know we're in the middle of very difficult times right now, but it's felt that way for a while, hasn't it? Let's be honest. But there is hope. There's a lot of us out there who have seen what's going on, and we want to make the world better. And there's a lot of people, like I say, who I share a room with 3 times a week, who are literally those people. They want to make things better. There are people in that room who really just shouldn't be there, but that's a whole extra problem. Not my issue. But, yeah. I think the core of this is, look at the difference in a year for me. And, in fact, most of that has been in less than a year. So, whatever you want to do with your life, whatever you're planning, whatever you think that you could do, but you just don't have the time, you don't have the money, you don't have whatever. Maybe you don't think you're good enough. I'm here to tell you that you are good enough. You can find the resources. You can find the time if you really, really want to. There are ways and means to do what you want with your life. It is your life. That is all you control. Only your life. So, yeah, grab the bull by the horns, do what you want, and yeah, as always, thank you for watching, and until next year, take care.